All right, welcome back. Yeah, it's Monday. Monday on the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro, glad you could join us. By the way, a reminder, if you haven't already heard, folks, we're moving the show August 12th, 9 a.m. to noon. We are really excited about that. This could be good news or bad news for you, depending on your opinions of me. But Ron Futrell will be filling in for us tomorrow, along with our good friend Brian Feldman from Fox Sports. They're going to be filling in for us tomorrow. We deserve a day off now and then, so me and JD are taking the day off tomorrow. So Ron will be here, folks. Have no worries. And, of course, Michael Avenatti will be back on the show Wednesday, right? That is obvious. He is in the ring with Michael Avenatti every Wednesday. But this is going to be a fun hour, and I will tell you why. I met this gentleman playing poker the other day, and he was talking a lot about golf. And I said, man, this guy really knows a lot about golf. Well, it turns out that he is a longtime PGA Tour caddy. His name is Darren Willard. Caddied 10 years for Scott Piercy, and his stories about just what it's like on the road as a PGA Tour caddy is priceless. It's unbelievable. I said, Darren, you got to come on, and we got to talk a little bit about this. So, Darren, thank you so much for being here, man. How are you?
It's great. Had a good time playing poker, and then it just escalated.
Yeah, it did.
You try to bluff me. I guess you need to tell a hand, but we'll get there.
Yeah. So, Darren, you were fully exposed to the Brian Shapiro on a poker table experience. I hear off the air.
Nobody cares about that, but we'll talk about that
Actually,
later.
I think there'll be a lot of people that'd be
perhaps. Well, here's what I want to start with you though. Matt Kuchar and the tipping incident and if you guys don't know what we're talking about, Matt Kuchar won an event overseas. He got paid over $1 million. He pays his caddy, not his normal caddy, I think $4,000. Then he does an interview on the Golf Channel, doubles down on it, saying, well, that was the agreement. In my opinion, he's an absolute cheapskate dirtbag, and he eventually succumbed to the pressure, and I think he paid him, another $40,000, Chris, something like that. So I want to get your perspective on this. So he paid him a total of like $45,000. I still think he's a cheapskate. So go ahead, talking to the mic. Tell me what you think about this.
He shorted him, even after the $45,000. Every PGA Tour caddy, you have a retainer every week where it's $1,500, $2,000 for the week. You show up, and then you get a percentage of what they make. It's 7-10. Now I get it. It's a fill-in caddy. It's not his regular guy. So I don't know what he told him. We don't know what he said. Hey, maybe it's $2,000 for the week. I may give you a little more if I play well. Whatever they said, that was between them. But when the week progresses and he keeps on playing better and better and better, and he books the W for $1 million, whatever, what was it?
1.1, something like that.
Yes.
Standard is 7-10. I mean, 7% of what you make, 10% if you win. I mean, you win $1.1 million. You're telling me you're not.
Should have paid him over $100,000.
$5,000? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
This guy spends $5,000 an hour in net jets.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, let's be real.
Right.
I don't know what his tournament earnings are on the course. It's got to be over 40
Did that
million.
surprise you though? Because you've been in groups with Matt Kuchar.
I know Cooch really well.
Is he a scumbag or what's the deal?
He is the nicest guy ever until obviously he has to dig in his pocket and pay money. Obviously, because
alligator arms, even when he's probably out to eat, right?
You're
I bet he
probably
is.
only going to get him to pay for dinner with the credit card roulette. Where you put the credit card in the hat.
I mean, isn't he number 6 or 7 on the FedEx Cup this year? I mean, he's having a good
couple of years.
He's crushing it, and
he's
I think
making plenty of money.
That tournament propelled him. Then he won in Sony.
Right.
He won with his regular guy. So I guarantee you, I know John would, and I know he made over.
This tarnishes his career forever, as far as I'm concerned.
So you're saying he should have paid him $110,000, and instead he tried to pay him $5,000. That's 4% of what he was supposed to pay him.
That's like, let's go to a $10,000 dinner and let's tip our waiter $10 or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Well, you brought up, Darren, too, that he was a replacement caddy, right? He's not a regular caddy. But the fact remains is that guy was a local, right? He was wired in on that course. So, look, I'm not a caddy. You can speak to this. That was highly beneficial, I would expect the coach to have that guy as his caddy, being that he was from there.
I mean, you could make the argument that he should have tipped him more because he knew more information that he wouldn't have had otherwise.
And his caddy was not just a fill-in guy. He was a regular guy that's caddied on tour multiple times. I know that's his home course. You're in his backyard.
Right.
And he helped Kuchar. Maybe it's 1%. He helped him that one hole or that one positive thing. Whatever it is, he helped him break through and win at that moment in time. And Kuch hadn't won in a while.
I just thought
that
really made him look really bad. And I think it's really hard to come back from something like that. Look, a lot of the fans will forget that. I'm certainly not going to forget that. And I'm a big golf fan. I think that smirk he has on his face he's full of crap. That's what I see. And you know why I say that? Because the interview he did on the Golf Channel, a couple days later when this controversy got out there, he doubled down on it. That was the real Matt Kuchar. He said, we had a deal. He was blaming this guy and trying to make this guy look bad. And then all of a sudden he succumbs to the pressure. But that was the real Matt Kuchar. He wasn't able in his mind to step back take a couple steps back and say, you know what? I need to take care of this guy. I made a mistake. The only reason why he did it was because of PR. That's my opinion.
Well, isn't it industry standard that, say his caddy couldn't make it, that he still had to have a caddy, correct?
Correct.
Isn't that? I mean,
well, yeah, you can't. You got to have a caddy.
What are the rules on that? Though, and why would if it's industry standard and the typical percentage is 7 to 10%? Why would this guy, knowing that Kuchar still had to have him, accept a $5,000 deal?
I think he was just happy to be there, and things escalated as he continued to play well. Mm-hmm. It was really unfortunate, and the real hero in the whole thing is Tom Gillis. Mm-hmm. He's the PGA Tour player that blew it up over Twitter, and when I first read it,
thank God he did.
I'm like, no freaking way. No way.
You didn't believe it?
No. I mean, I was like, no way.
You're a longtime PGA Tour caddy. You ever hear a story like this before where somebody shorted somebody like that?
I mean, that's nice you're saying I'm a long time. I got 9 years out there. But
that's a long time.
It is a long time, but I've never heard of anything like this.
Yeah.
I mean, these are life-changing tournaments. Maybe it wasn't life-changing for Kuchar in that moment in time, but like this kid that just won this week in Reno, the Colin, the young kid that just won.
Yeah.
It's life-changing. 2-year exemption on the PGA Tour. You get a chance to be top 50 in the world, and I've never heard of any. Most of your golfers are really, how do I say, they really pay. I mean, they're not cheap.
Yeah.
A majority
Which is
of these
nice
guys
to
are
hear.
not cheap.
If you're just joining us, by the way, 9-year golf caddy on the PGA Tour, Darren Woolard was on the bag of Scott Piercy and some other notable players as well. So we hear rumors of who's the real scumbag on the PGA Tour, who just treats people like dirt. I hear the name Patrick Reed all the time. Nobody seems to like this guy. Is that true? Can you give me a story or something where maybe he mistreated you, or like, what is it true?
Well, I think you hit the nail right on the head. I never liked this guy the first time I met him. He was not nice to me. He's always been nice to me. But on the West Coast swing, I would always wear pants. It's cold. We come back from Hawaii. You got the early tee times in Palm Desert. You got L.A., San Diego. So Piercy and I are driving around in the cart. Now, our practice rounds, we just hit a couple tee shots, pick up the ball, go to the next tee, just kind of get some looks. Because there's 3 courses. You don't have time to play them all.
Right.
So we pull up. I'm wearing pants. Patrick busts my balls. He's like, hey, pants are for players. What are you doing wearing pants? I'm like, I'm cold. Like I want to choke this guy, right? I don't even know this guy, and he's busting me up for wearing pants, and I'm looking at him like,
should have called him the Pillsbury Doughboy because that's what he looks like.
Well, maybe that's an endorsement opportunity for him to get on the bag, Cinnabon or something like that.
But nobody seems to like this guy,
No.
right? I've never heard anybody say anything nice about him. And especially his family. He won't even let his family go to Augusta.
See, I don't know anything about that. I mean, I've read the story, I know, but like. Not just me. I mean, I really don't have a problem with the guy. He just gave it to me for 10 seconds in his life.
So what about Tiger Woods? Mm-hmm. Now, I, as far as life off the golf course, he's done some horrible things, extremely selfish things. It seems like he's changed a little bit. At least I hope he has. I would imagine you were in plenty of groups as Scott Piercy's caddy with Tiger Woods. How did he treat you? What was that like walking a course with Tiger Woods?
Tiger's just first class. Out there, it's businesslike. He used to be a lot more unapproachable. Now, since the scandal, whatever you want to call it, he's really opened up. He's a lot more approachable than he's ever been. Maybe that's taken away from his edge, his competitive edge, but obviously he's not a young man anymore.
Who do you think the biggest womanizer is on the PGA Tour?
That's a good question.
You say that because there's a lot of them, or?
I can't really think of something
like
right
a guy that'll pick up a chick every single tournament and talk about it.
It's so family oriented out there. You have the wives, you have the nannies, you have everybody. I didn't really get out and get after it when I was out there. I had a significant other at the time, and so I really can't think of one.
I've heard Robert Allenby likes the ladies.
Allenby can get after it a little bit, but remember, he was out getting after it late in his career. When I was out there from 2009, he was an older guy chasing it. There was another tour player named James Nitties. He played on the PGA Tour.
That's a great name, by the way. James Nitties.
That's outstanding.
He was an Aussie, good-looking guy. He had to beat the ladies off with the stick. That's why he could carry his golf clubs.
What about Ricky Fowler?
I know Ricky very well, and he is just the straightest shooter ever. Like, when we would go out to dinner, he was very nice. I never saw him getting after
You know,
it.
he's got that. He wears those flamboyant outfits.
The
He's
Puma
got,
stuff,
He
yeah.
kind of looks like Leonardo DiCaprio. He's got that long hair. He's a good-looking guy. I'm shocked.
I
that
think JD wants to actually go off. That's what I
I'm
think.
saying if I was going to guess someone, I would probably guess him.
Yeah.
No, Ricky is just a class act. He is probably like, I think I told you this yesterday when we played golf. 3 nicest guys on tour: Fowler, Brendan Steele, and Charles Howell III, by far.
That's pretty cool to hear. Charles Hall's been around a really, really long time.
Classy dude.
Okay, so I've heard rumors that there are times where, and I wouldn't doubt it, that PGA Tour caddies, obviously you have inside information, that sometimes players and caddies will make bets based on inside information. And can you share with us, because you said you have at least one story where that actually did happen. Tell us that.
It did happen. It wasn't a player. It was myself. I saw a bad. One of the players got hurt. His name was Vijay Singh. It was
former number 1 player in the world.
Former number 1. We're in his back. Well, he lives in Jacksonville, but we're in Orlando, Bay Hill. His caddy at the time, I'm not going to mention his name, said my man can't even tie his shoes, can't hardly walk. So I checked the lines, and they matched him up versus the local Skip Kendall, which wasn't even on the tour.
So one player versus another.
It was one player versus another.
Skip Kendall.
And this is super frowned upon now today, but this is before there was no really rules and regulation. Now the guys can't even go out and gamble.
Which is absurd.
Wait, they can't even hit the tables or play?
No, what I'm saying, like in the practice rounds, I think they frown on, hey, let's play $500 two downs.
Okay.
Let's just get
so
after
on the
it.
course you're talking about.
Yeah,
right?
I think it's like they can't play cards in the card room, whatever.
Well, that's why Tiger's losing.
Yeah.
He needs that edge.
Exactly. Same with Phil.
Okay, so
well, that's not the type of edge that Tiger needed, okay? We all understand that.
So you get a tip that Vijay Singh from his caddy can barely tie his shoes and can't walk. So
and he had to withdraw from the Pro-Am, so the Wednesday Pro-Am.
So he was really hurting.
He's really hurting, and then I checked the Pro-Am time. He's 7:10. He's right out of the gate, first thing in the morning. I'm like, who is he matched up against? So I see it's Skip Kendall, plus 170, plus 180 on 2 different sites. Now, I don't have any money online, so I got to pick up the phone, and I'm like, I call some buddies here in town. I need $5,000 on the finger, and I split some money up, and I said, hey, I'll give you 10%. If I win, if I lose, I'll eat the whole amount.
So you're caddying for Scott Piercy at the time.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, I just have to, because this is unbelievable. Vijay Singh's caddy tells you that Vijay is really struggling physically.
That he can't bend down and tie his shoes or walk.
Yeah, and the first thing that comes to your mind is, oh my God, let me go online. I wonder if there's a matchup against. Hey, listen, I think that's brilliant.
I think we need to hang out more.
So back then, even now, if you bet $5,000 on a matchup, one golfer versus another, that raises some red flags. So were you able to do that in one?
No. We had to split up with 4 bets and 2 casinos
That
because
makes
they
sense.
cap you out at like $1,000.
So you
I
did,
believe that.
and you got plus 170 on that.
Well,
so
it went down 180 at one casino and then 170 at the
so
other.
you made almost $10,000.
Do you think
Well,
they were
7,500. I had to pay. I had to give him the old $750 handshake. My buddy that did it, because I gave him the juice. But
Do you think? Okay, be honest now. Do you think that happens regularly on tour?
I don't think that happens regularly on tour.
Why
I
do you
think
say that?
I'm from Vegas. I'm looking at lines. I don't think these other guys are looking at lines like I looked at. And this is a once every 6 month opportunity you don't get. And it wasn't like VJ's caddy at the time was just saying, "Hey, you need to go bet against my guy." Let's get the story straight.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was just more.
It was more
off the
like
cuff. Yeah.
It was like the light bulb went off in my head. I wonder what the line is.
Right. You got very opportunistic.
It was a perfect storm.
Based on a friendly conversation. Man, VJ, he's not looking too good. Oh, yeah?
And the reason
how not?
And the only reason why I knew is because we were third alternate to play in the Pro-Am. It was Piercy's rookie year, so he was playing well, but he wasn't in the Pro-Ams. Only the top 50 players in the world or top 50 on the money list. We were shooting up the money list then, but we were like on deck. So I didn't want him to get hurt. I wanted to play Pro-Am because I didn't want to work the Pro-Am. So that's how I found out that he was hurt.
If you're just joining us, a longtime golf PGA Tour caddy Darren Woolard joining us, kind of dishing out a little bit of the secrets of life on the PGA Tour. If you want to give us a buzz, now's the time to do it. 702-257-5396. If you have any questions, give us a call, 257-5396. Were you ever in a situation in the middle of a round where you saw one of your fellow caddies or even yourself just get treated so badly? Because I look at situations out there like Jordan Spieth. He's just a freaking whiner. He's just such a whiner, right? He asked his caddy yardages probably 6 times hitting one shot, right? You told me that story, and I agree. I mean, Have you seen that? Have you? Because Bubba Watson's another guy where he's just really. But you have to. You're in a situation, right, where you have to succumb to your player kind of at times treating you like that. He's your boss, and you're making money, right? So I mean, like, Scott Piercy, did he ever blame you for wrong club selection or a bad shot? I mean, have you seen that?
I've seen that. Like, Piercy probably only got into me probably 2 times in 10 years. Scott's the best,
So give me an example. When you say got into you, like what?
The main one that he really dug into me is, which he probably should have. We're in China. We got a chance to win the golf tournament. We're on the 15th hole. Scott's like 8 under for the day. We're 2 out of the lead.
Jeez, 8 under through 15.
Yeah, we're 2 shots out of the lead. He's firing on all 8 cylinders. And if you don't know Scott, he's one of those guys that
Local guy. Yeah.
He is on or off. When he's on, he's on. He'll shoot lights. He'll shoot numbers so low. Just that's how he wins. He just 61, 63, stuff like that. So he's firing on all 8 cylinders. We're paired with Adam Scott. I think we got 96 covered a bunker. We got 208 hole. Now Scott hits his 5-iron 205. I mean, that's his 5-iron. The ball was sitting in the rough. It had to cover this bunker. We're in the thick of it. He goes, "What do you like?" And I'm like, "I like 6." He goes, "I can't get it there." And I go, "You're pumped up. You're ripping it. It's out of the rough. You may catch a little flyer. If you hit this 3 feet, we're tied for the lead." On Thursday and Friday, it's a 5-iron, but it's Sunday. We got 4 holes to play.
So you told him to hit a 6. Yeah.
He goes, all right. I look over at Stevie. We always give you have fingers to the TV crew, telling them what club you have.
So you told the camera crew.
Yeah, I got a 6. Adam and Stevie know that we hit a 6.
And when you say Adam and Stevie, you're talking about Adam Scott and his caddy Stevie, who's former
Williams.
caddy to Tiger Woods. Okay. Yeah.
And so Piercy buttons it, hits it right on the number. He goes, "That's all I got, bro. That's all I got."
So he says that right after he hits it?
Yeah, he knows.
He says to you, okay.
"That's all I got."
So he knew he hit it flush.
It's flying right at the stick.
Yeah.
I'm licking my chops. I know my man's licking his chops. we're gonna get in there. Hits right in the lip, right in the bunker. Oh. He broke his foot off in my butt. Right. I mean, he probably gave me a good tongue lashing.
Did he swear at you?
I mean, he gave it to me, and he should have. We're in the thick of the moment.
And this is on national television.
No, I don't think they didn't get this on national television.
Oh, okay.
Adam's 4 or 5 yards in front of us. They hit 6 right behind us. They rip it right on the green. So Adam hit his, at this moment in Scotty's career, Adam hits his irons pretty long. So long story short, Piercy saves me, gets it up and down, make birdie. Long story short, we finish second. We don't win the golf tournament, but that's out of 10 years. That's the only really time.
Have you seen an instance in your group where somebody just got lashed out a caddy and you said, "Wow, I'd love to punch that player in the face"?
Correct.
Has that happened?
Robert Allenby, you brought that up. He was yelling at a guy at Ennisbrook. We're on number 9. He's in the bunker. The caddy mentioned to him, he goes, "I don't think you can get it over the lip." He was being honest. I mean, these players pay you for your opinion.
Right.
And he goes, "I know I can get it on the green. You're telling me I can't get it over the lip?" He goes, "Shut up. Give me the club." Hits it right in the lip. Doesn't get over the lip. Just digging in him. And I don't know. The caddy was right in that moment, but it's not about who's right or wrong. The caddy is out there as the only guy on your team. Everybody else, they say nice shot, they want you to fail. The caddy is the only guy that's on your team. So Allenby got into him pretty good, and I didn't like that as bad. That's the worst. I don't want to get into it, but it was pretty bad.
Are there any really arrogant caddies out there? Like caddies that for players that are, say, for example, like a Tiger Woods or someone who has been a consistent top 5 player. Are any caddies really arrogant out there?
You get 2 extreme levels. You get the arrogant caddies or the nicest guys on the planet. And remember, these guys are professionals. Like Tiger, nothing against Steve Williams, right? Tiger could win with a pull card.
Right.
And I'm crapping on my job perfection. My job.
It's like saying Garth Brooks needs a promoter to throw a concert. He doesn't. He could sell it by himself.
Well, Darren, we saw that right in the Open Championship 2 weeks ago, because you've got Lee. Was it Lee Westwood or who was it that was at the top of the leaderboard?
Shane Lowry.
And had his girlfriend. Was his caddy.
It was Lee Westwood,
right?
yeah.
I mean, look, no disrespect to his girlfriend, but it's not like she's a top tier caddy out there that's trying to help him win that.
Yeah,
championship.
he almost won.
Yeah.
Remember, we get 7% for a reason or 5% for a reason. They're 95% of the job. They do everything.
Sure.
We try to make their environment is best for them at that moment, whether it's comforting, whether it's a bottled water, whatever you can do, hushing up a camera, get the crowd out of the way, whatever you can do to make him perform at the highest level, that is your job.
Who are there any players on tour where you say to yourself, "Oh Jesus, I don't want to be paired up with that guy for whatever reason"?
Oh, for sure. Right now, public enemy number one's got to be JB Holmes because I hear he's slow. Now, he was never this slow when we were
Brooks
paired with him.
Koepka went off after the round on Sunday at the British Open saying how slow he is.
And Brooks,
is he really that? Is he that bad?
He must be because Brooks is just such a laid-back cat. You know,
I couldn't believe how he went off.
To get under Brooks's skin.
Yeah.
A lot of crap had been going bad.
Okay, speaking of Brooks Koepka, I'm glad you brought him up. Him and Dustin Johnson got into it before. The rumor with DJ is that he has slept with a lot of PGA Tour players' girlfriends or wives. Mm-hmm. Is that true?
I don't have any really proof on that, but those are rumors that have went around. I can't say that I know for sure, but I think DJ probably got after it for a while. I don't know.
He did cocaine, didn't he? Be honest. That was cocaine.
That was already determined, though, wasn't it? That was
suspended. Why else would they suspend him?
I can't say that for sure. I don't know, but
he had to have.
He got suspended for something we don't know what it is.
What do you think it was?
I have no clue.
No,
it could be HGH.
Do you think Tiger Woods ever took steroids?
I'm not for sure.
Do you think any golfers right now are taking steroids?
I don't think so if they are because they're random drug testing now.
Shane Lowry's definitely not taking steroids.
The random drug testing just started in 2009.
Right.
So obviously a PGA Tour player hasn't been caught since they've implemented it. So if there was a PGA Tour player doing it before, it had to happen before 2009.
What do you think of these idiots that are watching golf on TV and they call into these tournaments saying, oh, he made a mistake there. That should be a 2-shot penalty. I'm thinking to myself, why don't you guys take a flying you-know-what and get a life?
It's funny that you bring that up because that's exactly what happened to Tiger at the Masters. We were paired with Tiger when he did the infamous ball drop.
Oh, you were in that group.
That's right.
So
it was
what
Luke
happened?
Donald Piercy.
So explain people what happened there.
Tiger hit a great wedge shot into 15. It hit the flagstick and kind of went like 6 yards left and then entered the creek. Mm-hmm. So the rules are you have to drop back exactly where you are, or you have to choose a line where the ball last cross in between you and the flagstick. You can go back as far as you want, keeping that line, or you can use there's a drop area. Mm-hmm. So I'm standing on the bridge on the left. Piercy already hit his shot in there. I'm watching Tiger, and it's a beautiful shot. Hits, goes in. So Tiger walks down next to me because I'm standing next to the drop area. I know for sure he's not going to redrop it in this drop area. It's into the grain. It's a 40-yard pitch right over the water. No chance. So I just see Tiger go all the way back. From where I'm standing, Tiger's just replaying the shot.
Right.
So he drops it, hits it on the green. No one says anything. The rumor has it a guy called in and said he dropped it. He dropped the ball 2 feet back further. Mm-hmm. Whatever it was. Piercy and I, we couldn't tell. We're practically on the green.
Yeah, right.
And Luke Donald didn't say anything. And for me, I'm just like, he just re-hit the shot. Came in the next day. We signed a scorecard. We get in the scoring booth or where they do all the scorecards, recheck. No one said a word. This didn't happen until the next morning. Then I'm walking in the caddy, in the caddy locker room at Augusta on the right of the range, and everyone's like, some of the caddies are kind of needling me a little bit. You guys let him cheat yesterday and da-da-da-da.
Did they really say
And I'm like, two guys, I'm like, what are you? I didn't even know what they were talking about.
Yeah.
And then it's all over the Golf Channel. They're blowing it up. And then.
That's so ridiculous.
So from where I was standing, Tiger made an honest mistake. I think he just thought he was redropping.
That couldn't have been intentional. Yeah. He's never been known to be that guy.
No,
do you think there are guys on tour that do cheat? Can you give us an example?
I've seen a guy not put a ball down where he marked it on the putting green, maybe an inch closer, 2 inch, like an inch and a half closer. He's on the senior tour now. I'm not going to blow him up, but
do people do anything with their golf balls that could be considered cheating?
I've seen it at Asian Tour qualifying overseas where guys they call it greasing a ball. I'm not going to say their name. They're nobody. The people that I saw.
So they're literally grease balls.
Yeah, into the wind. There's cheating out there.
They grease the golf ball in the. How do they do that?
Well, sunscreen. If you have sunscreen heavily on your face, you wipe the ball on your face and then you tee it up into the wind, and it's a
That's
kind of
unbelievable.
golf's like an honor system. I've seen it. I've seen it on the web.com tour level or the Korn Ferry Tour or whatever it is now. I've never seen that on the PGA Tour, but I've seen it over in Asia and I've seen it on the bottom tour.
You brought up Vijay Singh earlier in the show. Look, there's been some rumors out there that he has taken liberties on the course.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. He gave himself a 6 or instead of a 5. I don't know the whole story, but it was in Asia 25 years ago, whatever it is.
Right.
So I don't even know the whole story about that.
I think the biggest problem on the PGA Tour right now is you don't have a ton of personalities. There's a lot of dry, boring guys out there. And again, I'm not saying all of them are like that. Obviously, there's some great personalities out there as well. We need more John Daly's. And, Shane Lowry might look like John Daly, and I'm sure he's a great guy. No one's ever said anything bad about him. But let's just call it what it is. He doesn't have a personality like we need out there. See, to me, that's how you draw a casual golfer. We all know if Tiger Woods is in contention on a Sunday afternoon, the casual sports fan is going to watch. I'm certainly going to watch, okay? I'm not I love golf, but I don't watch golf every week. I just watch the majors, right? I just feel like we need more John Dalys out there. And I know John Daly is – what did you make of John Daly, by the way?
John Daly was a nice guy. We only got paired with him one time, and he was just a class act. He's real.
What do you make of his life, though? Losing $50 million gambling, addicted to sex, so he claims. His diet is chocolate candy bars and Coke. I mean, what do you – this guy is just a one of a kind, but yet
sounds like
unbelievable talent.
Sounds like a man. I don't know. I think he was so talented. He didn't really – I can't say it was given to him. He earned his keep. Mm-hmm. But I think he was so talented, he didn't have to work as hard as the other guys.
Two-part question here, and then we'll take a break. Best golf course you've ever played, or maybe toughest golf course or you've ever caddied, or walked, and best round of golf you've ever seen live.
Well, the toughest golf course I've ever played is probably I played Pebble Beach right after the U.S. Open when Tiger went on that tear in 2000. I played it on Wednesday. The grandstands were still up, and the number that he shot in that setup. I mean, what did he beat the field by? 15?
Destroyed it. It was insane.
I think I played it. Unbelievable, and I think I shot 82.
Wow.
I played good. I mean, you played with me yesterday. I shot in the 60s
you're
yesterday.
a very good player. Yeah.
So I played unbelievably good and shot 82.
Wow.
And as far as, what was the other question?
Best round of golf
you ever
seen
on the tour.
You've ever seen. Maybe you were in the group.
Yeah.
Well, Piercy shot 61.
Jeez. 61. That's what C-Win shoots on 9 holes.
On 9? Try like 4 or 5 holes.
Piercy shot 61 on an easy golf course, but it was for all the money.
When a player is locked in like that, you just don't even really, you give maybe a fist pump after a birdie, or not even, that's it?
You get the hell out of his way.
Just stay away and just let him go.
You ride these
like
guys
a no-pitcher, or no-hitter, right? As a pitcher, you stay away from, just let them do their thing.
See, the hardest part about caddying is helping your player when everything is going wrong. Mm-hmm. When these guys are firing on all 8 cylinders, you're riding them like a thoroughbred. You're just hitting them and make them keep on going. I hate to say it like that, but it's
true.
The truth.
Yeah.
All you can do is screw it up. So when these guys, when I'll say Piercy, because I mean he shot 61 in Reno when we won on Saturday.
So when a guy shoots a 61, Piercy in this, every drive down the fairway, he's sticking irons, but the most important thing is he's making a ton of putts, right?
But they're making everything. The hole in these situations where it looks like a trash can to these guys. It's just, it's scary. I've seen these guys get on runs where it's like, they're not going to miss. It's just dead center. These guys are walking them in. You've seen it. You've seen Tiger in his prime. He's walking in 15 feet away.
Yeah, I would imagine for doing what you do for a living, you've met some pretty prominent people. Maybe some of the biggest celebrities that you've ever either caddied for or had the luxury of meeting on a round of golf. Like, I'm sure you have a few of those stories, right?
Yeah, I worked out at Shadow Creek prior to getting on tour. So the biggest name is probably Gretzky, him and his wife, and then Claude.
Was he gambling on the course?
No, they really weren't playing.
Because that family likes to gamble.
She likes to get after it. She likes to get after it a little bit. I've seen her gamble with a guy, a sports book. Some bookie guy. Yeah. They were playing out there. They were playing kind of high. They were like 2,000 a hole or something. High to me.
Who was Gretzky playing against? Who was in that group?
It was just him. Me and my buddy were we caddy. We had 2 caddies in the group, and there was 5 players. I think it was his wife, Claude Lemieux.
Yeah,
Claude Lemieux.
Yeah, former NHL player with the Avalanche.
Yeah.
Claude Lemieux, and I didn't even know. I wasn't a big hockey guy.
Yeah.
So I got the great one.
What do you get in a tip like that at the end of the round?
Very great. Those very generous tips. Those games, $400 or $500 a day. When you get a group like that,
that's pretty good.
Yeah. It's really good.
Any cheapskates out there?
Not at Shadow Creek, really. I mean, some of the cheap guys that I've had are just guys that you never heard of. But usually, if they're pretty high end, they've always taken care of me pretty.
Wealthiest guy that you've ever caddied for?
Phil Knight.
You caddied for Phil Knight. That guy is worth billions and billions of dollars.
I caddied for him probably the 3rd year or 2nd year out at Shadow Creek.
So what
Nice
does a
guy.
guy like that tip?
I don't really remember what he gave me.
It was probably pretty good, though.
If anything over $200, I was all smiles.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you.
It wasn't Judge Smales from Caddyshack
no,
where
no,
he's
no.
throwing some change on the
No, it
counter
wasn't like
and
that.
giving you a sip of his drink.
No, things out at Shadow Creek are not like that. Remember,
That's a
they're the
beautiful
upper
course.
echelon
Of course.
of your gamblers here
Of
in
course.
Vegas.
And I'm sure they're told to take care of their caddies as well.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break. We are joined in studio by former PGA Tour caddy Darren Willard. This is a good debate that we're going to have next segment because I played college golf. I love the game of golf. I do not think golf is a sport, and I know Darren disagrees with me on this one, so we are going to get into it. We are going to get into a debate. When we come back, we'll take a quick break. We'll be back right after this. You're listening to the Vegas Take on the all-new 101.5 FM, 720 AM KDWN. All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take, Sharp and Shapiro. So glad you can join us. Again, a reminder, we are moving 9 a.m. to noon starting August 12th. Tomorrow, Ron Futrell will be filling in for us along with Brian Feldman, so that'll be a lot of fun. We have Darren Willard in studio, longtime PGA Tour caddy, joining us, and I love some of these stories, these inside stories of life on the PGA Tour. But, look, Darren, I know you love golf. We both love golf our whole lives, right? I played college golf. I still enjoy playing every week. I love it. But I've always said, I look at a guy like a Shane Lowry, who's extremely overweight, very chubby. Patrick Reed is another one.
Andrew Johnson.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of them out there. But I say to myself, to be a top 5 player in the world, you have to be in great physical shape, and I think Tiger Woods set the standard for that. And I don't think if you're really out of shape, you could be the best player in the world. I just don't. Tiger set that standard. Brooks Koepka's in unbelievable shape. Justin Rose, really good shape. Ricky Fowler, fantastic shape. Jordan Spieth is in good shape. All those guys out there, Dustin Johnson, they're all in really good physical condition. Yes, I would call them athletes. But I look at a guy like a Shane Lowry, and I say to myself, you would never see somebody like a Shane Lowry in the NBA. You would never see somebody like a Shane Lowry in the NHL. It's impossible. And that's why I say I'm not sure. To be a professional golfer, I wouldn't label that as a sport. I think at the highest level, it probably is. But I think to be a PGA Tour player and be number 120 on the money list, I don't think you have to be an athlete. And I don't think for saying that, not sure it's a sport. What do you say?
I think you need to put the crack pipe down and walk away slowly. Yeah. What is the term?
Yes.
You got to admit that you had admitting that you have a problem is the first step in heading in the right direction.
And that's something that you need to subscribe to, Brian. And we got into this last week. We talked about this.
You're telling me Shane Lowry is an athlete with his man boobs going up and
I'm
down.
telling you rode in a golf cart with me for 18 holes yesterday, and you were falling dead.
Yeah.
With 3 holes to play.
That's just
and you're in a lot better shape than Shane Lowry.
Well, I think I am. No, I think I am.
So is playing golf in heat a sport then?
Well, no,
is it weather condition based?
First of all, Shane Lowry has a caddy. He has. I don't think too often he's playing in 110 degrees, and if he is, I don't think he's winning the golf tournament. Okay, the British Open was rainy and cold. That is completely different than walking in 110 degrees out there on a golf course. And number 2, when I look at Shane Lowry, I'm sorry, I just don't see an athlete. Does he have tremendous eye-hand coordination and skill? Absolutely, but I just don't see him as a guy that I'd shoot hoops with or play football with.
Do you see David Wells as an athlete?
Well, the pitcher, baseball is a very unique sport because I think there are some positions in baseball
How
where
is it any different at all? They walk much less. As a pitcher, you go up there, you lift your leg, you throw the ball. What else do you do?
You could say pitching in a way is like bowling.
So is pitching. So pitchers aren't athletes then.
I think some pitchers are.
Heavy set pitchers aren't athletes.
I think some pitchers are. I think some are not. I think baseball is very different.
CC Sabathia is not an athlete.
No. Well, I think he's he's got tremendous athletic ability. But when you look at his body type,
what about Pedro Martinez? He was like 5'9", 160.
Not just pitchers.
Wasn't exactly a big guy, but he wasn't.
Look at
in
David.
Shape either. He was just very, very small and scrawny.
Look at a guy like a David Ortiz, and we're going to baseball now. But there are a lot of guys out there.
We're going to America's pastime.
I consider
which is absolutely considered a sport.
I consider a true sport a situation where you have to be in good physical condition, not great, just good, to be a professional athlete.
So, Darren, this is why we got into it, because I think Brian here, he's making a distinction of their athletic build, right? And if they're athletes, and as opposed to whether or not a sport is a sport, something's a sport. And this was my thing, Darren. This is what I said to him. I said, hey, okay, the amount of hand-eye coordination, from the neck up, what is required in sports, okay, I think golf absolutely is a sport from that standpoint alone. When it comes to what these guys have to do out there, look, I get it. Okay, there's people that aren't in great shape that are out there on the PGA Tour. There are people that aren't in great shape in that are auto racers. Okay, there are people that are not in great shape that in other sports. And by the way, you said the NBA. There's not people like that. 2 words for you: Oliver Miller. Okay,
or
there are Manute Bull or Charles Barkley early in his career. There's guys that
fat Shaq.
Yeah.
I mean, a fat Shaq still dominates because he's 7'2", 370. He's still he's still a fantastic basketball player, which makes him a fantastic athlete.
Find me another
regardless
sport.
of whether he's built like an athlete.
How about Sebastian Janikowski? He kicked more field goals than a lot of guys.
Find me another
he's
sport.
As round as a beach ball.
Find me another sport where a guy like a John Daly, with his build, could be a professional in that sport. Find me a guy like that.
Baseball.
Sebastian Janikowski.
Baseball.
He's a relief. JD, a relief pitcher in baseball.
I would argue.
There's a lot of guys out there with beer bellies,
I would
right?
argue that David Wells was actually, or Wade Boggs was actually in worse physical condition than John Daly.
Chamberlain.
Well, my
Exactly.
definition.
Chamberlain,
Listen.
who clearly took steroids and
Listen,
admitted to it.
I am not one of those guys that hates on golf, and I can't be told, oh, you don't know anything about golf. I played college golf at a pretty high level, but I'm telling you right now, my definition of a sport is very different than your guys' definition of a sport.
Your definition of a sport is you're only an athlete if you're built. If you're
No.
I
didn't say
Brian's
that.
making
I
a
didn't
difference.
say
You're
that.
zero sense at all.
You're talking about
I
an
didn't say
athlete.
that.
You're not talking about a sport, Brian. With all due respect, you're talking about guys who are athletically built or what they, what their
say that.
makeup is.
I
You're not
believe-
talking about the actual sport.
I didn't say that.
Do you actually believe what you? I mean, I'm not sure you actually believe this. This is one of the worst arguments we've ever had.
could be- no, it's not.
JD, you think
No,
he's
it's
taking an angle on
It is
this?
horrendous.
No, it's not.
So
No,
where do
it's
you draw?
not.
Where do you draw the line? Darts.
Craig
Is darts?
Stadler. Craig Stadler.
Oh,
is-
and by the way, Darren, I brought this up. I think darts is a sport too.
I think darts is a
Oh,
sport.
you guys are
Yes.
insane.
Come on
I
now.
think
You
billiards
guys
is
are
a
out
sport.
of your minds.
I think the professional pool player billiards. I think that's a sport.
You think darts is a sport?
I have-
Absolutely, 100%.
So
I
is
have-
playing Pac-Man a sport too?
It might as well be.
If
Oh,
it
that's
can be,
insane.
if
Come
it's a
on.
competitive nature where you can
by
gauge
that
it and
logic,
you can measure it.
then competitive gaming is a sport. Fortnite is a sport.
That's ridiculous.
And I
It
don't,
is.
and
The kids are making million.
Well,
What's the
the-
kid just
that
made
kid
$1 million
made
bucks?
$3 million
he
bucks the
made
other
$3
day.
million.
Yeah.
He didn't
So
make
is
money.
playing checkers a sport? Is
Is
chess
chess
a sport?
Exactly.
If
No,
it's a
I agree.
professional sport.
Is
If you're getting
playing poker a
compensated for it,
sport?
yes.
Oh,
If-
come on.
It's on ESPN.
Come on.
I would say, right, Darren. I would say if it's a competitive
second.
situation where you're
Kobayashi?
measuring it.
Joey Chestnut, that's a sport too?
Brian,
That's on ESPN.
Brian, what you can say is one is a mental sport and one is a physical sport, and some are both.
Okay, well, I'll say this then.
Poker is a
I
mental
have a lot more
Poker is a
respect.
mental sport.
Yes.
Okay, here's the
Chess is a
I have a
mental
lot
sport.
of issues and problems
Basketball
with golf.
is a mental and
All right,
physical
hold on.
sport.
I have a lot of problems with golf. Okay, first of all, 90% of the guys on the PGA Tour grew up with very wealthy families. They're rich, snotty families.
I don't believe that.
How many do you think? How many grew up
You're
with
saying
nothing?
90%.
I would say 9 out of 10 golfers grew up with pretty good means. Yes.
I don't believe. What's your definition of pretty good means? I mean, Tiger's dad. I mean,
having enough money to play at a country club.
Tiger didn't play at a country club.
Tiger is a rare exception, but his parents weren't poor either.
No,
okay, they
they
had
weren't.
money. They were a middle class family. So
Correct.
we can't look at Tiger Woods and
Wasn't
say
his dad?
But
was he
your
military?
argument was 90% were the upper.
I'm
middle
talking
class.
about
I don't
six
believe that.
figures income or more. They get the best teachers in the world. Most of them, not all of them. They start at a very young age. They got all the proper teaching and all that stuff. You don't think so?
No, Lee Trevino, guys that grew
Well,
up.
you're naming. You can name. Of course, you can name some
you
that
think Arnold
weren't.
Palmer was loaded?
Brian,
Think Jack
you're
Nicklaus was
saying
loaded?
you're saying
They weren't
90% of PGA golfers are like Judge Smale's grandson.
No, that's not what I'm saying. But I do think a lot of these golfers grew up in very well means with the best teachers. I think it's very difficult to become a PGA Tour player if you don't have proper golf teachers and technique, and you learn that at a young age.
Well, golf teachers and technique, yeah, you got to work hard at anything you do, but you can't just throw money. Just think if they gave me money. I'm a good golfer, but I could never go to the next level. I would get slapped around like it would be a joke. You see what I'm saying? So you could throw money at me.
Did you start playing golf at 6 or 7 years
Yeah,
old? And
I
did you
started-
play on some of the best golf courses out there?
Yeah, I had access to golf instruction. My dad was never like loaded like that.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it doesn't take a tremendous amount of talent to become a PGA Tour player, but I'm saying I have a lot more respect for an NBA player or an NHL player or a Major League Baseball player for that matter. I have more respect for other sports if you want to call golf a sport.
But whether or not you come from a privileged background, I don't think has anything to do with whether or not a sport is a sport.
Why are there
People from privileged backgrounds
then why
play
are there
tennis.
so few
Tennis is a sport,
African Americans
right? I mean,
on the
yeah.
golf course?
Boxing's a
Explain
sport.
that.
UFC,
Yeah, there's all
MMA is
kinds
a
of
sport.
sports where there's
I'll tell you
people from
exactly
different
why.
There's like
it
no
used to not be
African-Americans.
cool.
And I'll tell you right, when in '94 when I graduated high school.
So hockey's not cool? Is that why no African Americans play hockey?
What I'm saying is, I would rather be on the chess club than on the golf club, the golf team in 1994.
But then why are there? Look, hockey's
it's not
inexpensive.
cool. Michael Jordan,
He's
big
totally
athlete.
he's totally right. The culture
has changed. It used to not be cool to play golf. When did golf become cool?
How many African Americans are PGA Tour? What, 3 or 4 of them out there?
But now it's getting. What's the term I need? It's widespread. It's getting.
it's growing.
It's accepted. It's accepted. Like,
And hockey's not accepted. How do you?
everybody thought I was a nerd that I played golf.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're
Yeah.
on the golf team. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
You got something wrong with you on the golf. It's like being on the chess team. That's my whole point.
Well, I never
Well,
felt like
Brian,
that.
in all fairness, a lot of the NHL players aren't born in the United States for that matter.
Well, I'll give you.
And in all fairness to you too, Brian, yes, there is an element of expense when it comes to hockey. And hockey, by the way, is a regional sport too.
It's expensive.
I'll give you my reasoning when it comes to the NBA, okay? It doesn't cost money besides grabbing a basketball to go on the playground and start playing basketball. That's what I don't like about golf. It is an expensive sport to play. It is an expensive sport to get the best teachers out there. It's extremely expensive.
He's calling it a sport
So
right now,
why doesn't
guys.
that make it a sport?
Yeah.
Well, I'm just telling that's not my argument for the sport. That has nothing to do.
No, your argument said it's not.
No, you're not
your
understanding my
argument said, your argument
that has
said-
nothing to do with it.
You're saying it's not a physical
No,
sport.
you're not listening to me. That wasn't my argument for it not being a sport, in my opinion.
But
was
you called it a sport.
No, you're not letting me finish.
JD, the gist of his argument for that not being a sport is that there are some guys that aren't athletic or aren't athletes in his
Listen, my
opinion.
argument there was I have more respect for an NBA player for that reason. Nothing to do with it being a sport or not. Like I said, look, we can disagree on this. I just think when a guy like a Shane Lowry, he looks like crap. Let's just call it what I'm sure he's a great guy. He looks terrible. When he wins a major on the highest level in the British Open, I think that's bad for golf, in my opinion. And the guy certainly doesn't look like much of an athlete to me. If we're talking about sport, the word I think of is athlete. I don't think Shane Lowry's an athlete. I'm sorry, I don't. Does he have unbelievable eye-hand coordination, unbelievable mental toughness? Did he play unbelievable?
Which makes him an athlete right there. Having enough hand-eye coordination, having enough hand-eye coordination to win at the highest level.
So to be a professional pinball player takes eye-hand coordination.
It's not. Pinball's completely different.
No, it's not. It takes eye-hand coordination. Playing darts, that takes a tremendous amount of eye-hand coordination. No, it's not.
Look,
being a professional 9-ball player.
Brian, you're a professional ping pong player, okay? When it comes to table tennis, you're top notch.
that is true.
That's a sport, okay?
Find me a professional ping pong player in the Olympics that looks like Shane Lowry. You couldn't do it.
Well,
you couldn't do it.
I'm not
because
up
it's
on
a
the top
find
10
me a
of ping pong
Okay,
players
find me
around
a
the world.
professional.
So you're saying it's not. You're saying golf isn't an Olympic sport. It wouldn't qualify as an Olympic sport.
It is, but find me a professional tennis player that looks like Shane Lowry. You couldn't.
I think you hit the nail right on the head. You said if the Olympics are giving out medals for it, and you're sitting here telling me it's not a
Very
sport,
recently.
it doesn't make sense.
When did golf become an Olympic sport?
Last-
For years, it was never an Olympic sport.
Correct.
There's a reason for that. Why do you think that reason is?
Well, it wasn't because they didn't think they were athletes and they didn't think it was a sport.
Then what was the reason?
It was. I have no idea what the
Brian,
exact
your
reason
argument
is,
right
but-
now is that you are not an athlete unless you are in shape.
No,
that's basically what
No,
you're saying.
That's not what I said. You could be an
Of
athlete.
course it is.
No, it's not. You can be an athlete and be playing a game that I don't consider to be a sport, right? You guys just said poker's a sport. I mean, come on.
Let me give you a better argument,
I said
Brian.
it was
Let
a
me give
mental
you a better
sport.
one to say that it's not a sport. A better argument would be say, hey, for example, in auto racing, okay, the fact that you can compete against your grandfather, that would maybe be a hit against it, right? And Darren, when it comes to golf, right, you could probably bring this in too because, listen, there obviously everybody talks about Jack Nicklaus in 1986 at the age of 46 winning the Masters. Everybody talks about when Tom Watson later on in his career is still competing with on any given.
He almost won 2009.
Yeah, on any given tournament, and of course Freddie Couples, right? Freddie Couples down the line was still competitive. When it comes to golf, there are opportunities for the older guys to still play with younger guys.
But you know what? What about the big three? What separates the big three from the senior tour?
What about the big three?
The big
What's
three.
your point?
The big three is the NBA for washed up players.
Well,
the 3-on-3
why
tournament.
do you think Lamar Odom is not
a big three?
Yeah, the big three.
Why do you think they cut Lamar Odom? Because he was out of shape.
Because he's a number of things. I mean,
He was out of
there
shape.
could be a number of reasons for that.
Those
I don't
guys
think
can
out of
still
shape
play.
was the absolute. And these guys can still golf.
Those guys can still play. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of guys that are out of shape that are very good golfers. We've seen a history of that. Like you said, Lee Trevino, Craig Stadler. It's just my opinion. I don't think golf is a sport. I mean, I never have.
Well,
I never have.
Brian, your argument right now is that you're not an athlete unless you are in shape. No, that's basically what you're saying.
That's not what I said. You could be an athlete. No, it's not. You can be an athlete and be playing a game that I don't consider to be a sport. I never have.
You never been to like a 36-hole qualifier to get in
No,
the
I have.
Open?
I played in.
You know what I'm
Not
saying?
in the
Like
Open, but I played in match play stuff.
you're walking
36
7
holes.
miles twice, so you got 14 miles. You got to concentrate. You got wind. You got rain. You got et cetera, et cetera.
Oh,
et
there's
cetera.
situations where it's absolutely physically demanding and
And
mentally
it's
demanding.
mentally
No question.
It's
a
like
combination of mental and physical.
it's definitely a sport. I think you're way off base when you say that.
And Brian, the best sports, the most advertised sports, the sports where the people get paid the most money are that. They're a mix of mental and physical. Baseball, basketball, football, golf, soccer, tennis, et cetera, et cetera.
Like I said,
Hockey.
I have a lot more respect for a guy like, for example, a Kobe Bryant than I do a guy like a Shane Lowry or, any golfer.
Well, who's to say that Kobe wasn't just born 6'6" with out of control athleticism? Did he have to work as hard as Shane Lowry did for his success? You can't really say that.
he just told me how amazing John Daly was, and he was not in shape.
So
And
Brian,
I say
he's an
amazing.
athlete.
I say amazing because he was amazing for the game. He was great for the game of golf.
But he's an athlete. I don't care if he's drinking or smoking cigarettes or et cetera, et
the
cetera.
fact that he can be that good while he's that messed up in the head makes him an unbelievable athlete.
And
Correct.
Darren, it's much more important, right, than if a guy has a few extra pounds on him as opposed to somebody whose mental makeup. Your mental makeup is huge when it comes to golf, right?
It's really big. And just think, I mean, all the guys that were fit, perfect shape, ripped abs, Shane Lowry wore them out.
Yeah.
He wore them out. And so to sit there and say, well, how could a non-athlete whoop all the athletes?
because they're not doing a 500-yard dash. If Shane Lowry was doing that, he would have lost. He wouldn't have killed
So
anybody.
he won the marathon, and to win marathons,
Because
you
he
have to be
hit-
an athlete.
He hit golf shots.
Brian, do you think
He hit-
Tiger? Do
he
you
hit
think
golf shots,
Do you think
though.
Tiger
It
would
wasn't
have
a
won
marathon.
any
Yeah.
tournament ever if it was a 500-meter dash? Absolutely not. Of course not.
Tiger Woods
Let
is
me
in
ask you
better
this.
physical condition than probably 90% of the guys on tour.
Right now,
In his prime, absolutely. Absolutely.
right now,
without a doubt.
everybody. I mean, Brooks Koepka is
Why is it
basically
that-
built like a Greek
Why
god.
is it that you think the best players in the world right now are in the best shape?
Obviously, there's a reason for it. The game,
but
the
there's
game has
exceptions,
changed.
though, right?
I'll tell you
There's
one of the
exceptions.
best guys
Yeah.
on the PGA Tour that was in
We got 1
amazing
minute.
shape. His name was Will McKenzie. Willie Mack. The best shape of every guy. I think he only won once. I mean, he was chiseled.
Well,
He was
it's
like,
not a
he was almost like
guarantee.
Camilo Villegas. I mean, he was just ripped.
No, I have no idea.
Well,
who that
we
is.
will. Camilo Villegas, good player.
Okay.
We will have to continue this conversation at a later date, and we will continue this because I think we can talk about this for hours.
Well, as
and
long
hours
as you
on it.
respect Yao Ming for being 7'5",
Well, listen, hey, Darren, it's
he worked
good.
hard for that 7'5".
Thank you for coming on the show, man.
You got it.
appreciate
I had a good time. We'll have to play some more golf.
Absolutely.
And definitely more poker if you continue to bluff me the way you're bluffing me.
We'll have to. You had to poke the bear on that one. All right. Well, listen, guys. This has been a fun show. Check us out at the Vegas Take on Twitter. And what'd you say? You're mumbling, JD.
Voice is back.
Oh, okay. Okay. We're gonna take a 22-hour break, and Ron Futrell will be taking over the show tomorrow, folks. Have a great night, everybody. The legend himself, Ken Thompson,
And Fish.
coming up next. That's right. Have a good night, everybody.